Hello, hello. You are so welcome to Love Local. My name's Phil, and I'm joined here.
My name's Gail. Hello.
Hello. It's so great to have you with us on our first ever Love Local broadcast to Bookham, Fetcham, Effingham and Leatherhead. Why? Because we live in a fantastic community, don't we, Gail?
Absolutely do.
All right. And so tonight we have got some really special guests lined up for you. I'm calling them our local celebrities, all right? But they are just so wonderful people. We're so thrilled to have them with us tonight. How are you reaching out into the community?
Well, 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago this week, we started the Community Fridge, which initially was all about saving food from landfill.
Right.
But little did we see the horizon, which was going to be lockdown and nobody was going to be able to come out. So instead of having people come to us to take the food that we collected from the supermarkets, we had to rethink how that could work. And we got volunteers together and we started delivering bags of food to the people that we knew were more vulnerable, or we were given names from various charities and organisations that felt these people might need support. A lot of people were self-isolating, so they couldn't go to the shops anyway.
Of course.
So we started off doing about 20 bags, and within 3 months we were doing 200 bags.
Wow.
And it stayed like that for a year.
Gosh. Is that mainly Bookham or wider afield?
Effingham, Fetcham, mostly Bookham, to be fair. We were really surprised when we got as many addresses as we did. Mid-Surrey Community Fridges contacted us and said, we can get you the food. If you've got people you want to deliver to, you need to research your area and see if there's a need. And I thought, I'm never, we can supply you with 60 bags of food. So they said, we're coming next week with enough food to fill 60 bags. And at that time we had 20 addresses, so I had to get on the phone and ring round a few charities. Well, by the end of the day, I had over 100 addresses.
Wow,
so I was going to have to make
amazing.
60 bags of food stretched to 100. But all the supermarkets came on board with, they were actually looking for an avenue to send their food because they hated the fact that it was all going into landfill.
No one loves waste.
So
it ends up being the
bringing
default,
it all
though.
together was quite a logistical exercise that we continue to do, but we're just trying to draw back now. We're trying to get it on a more sustainable basis where people now come to us and pick the food up. And we're trying to spread the food a bit wider, so we've got the Grange coming on board next week with a community fridge there. And St Mary's at Fetcham started a community fridge. We give them the food. We draw the food in, we send it out.
It's another local distribution point for it.
We train their volunteers, provide them with a fridge, and then visit them each week to deliver the food. But it just spreads the load, and it spreads it to the wider community as well.
That's fantastic.
We're loving it, but it's just, we're having to just move with the changing times.
Go with the flow.
Really. Yeah.
Now, I've got a question for Gail here, Edna. All right, so question for you. What do you think is the most common food item that is distributed by the community fridge? What do you reckon?
I would go for bread or milk.
Bread or milk. So, Edna?
Well, bread, we get masses of bread.
Well spotted.
I was wondering what Phil was going to say, because we get a lot of alternative milks as well, and Phil enjoys the alternative milk.
I do, yeah.
And people have got to know us for having alternative milks. We don't get quite so many now, but during lockdown there seemed to be an awful lot of soya and oats and almond and all the other milks that you can now get.
And how many volunteers do you have on your
on the list at the moment? I've got 46.
Wow, gosh.
We're just trying to reorganise, so some of the volunteers that used to help us deliver are sort of coming away from that. All of them, without exception, are willing to help us in any way they can. They just know it would be a different role if they were delivering before, because we're trying to draw back. But yeah, I've got an amazing team of volunteers. We could not have done it without the people that just came behind me and supported. So
100%, 100%. And did you sort of notice that as lockdown progressed, that people wanted to do something to help those who were struggling?
Yeah. Do something that makes a difference. And we know that we've made a big difference to a lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah.